This is an Ellis Mowers and More small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's repair, we're going to look at this Troy Bilt Bronco 42X. This is a Powermore engine on it. It's a 2020 model year. And I just got to tell y'all, the Troy Bilt mowers are just... The downfall is just crazy. These things are just terrible, terrible quality. They seem to get cheaper and cheaper every year. What's happening with this machine is it'll run 15 minutes or so, and then just die. Just surge and quit. So what it is, and I've narrowed it down to a fuel issue, I believe. I don't think it's a spark issue. I put another spark plug in it just in case. The one in it looked like it was pretty black, looked like it was a little bit fouled, so I did that. Didn't seem to change anything. Looks like I have a fuel flow issue coming from the carburetor, so I've got to figure out why that's the case. I've already tried to put a fuel filter on it. That didn't work, and so now I've got to figure out, okay, what else could it be, you know? So let's go through this. Again, this could be, it doesn't have to be the Powermore engine. It could be the Kohler engine. It could be the Briggs & Stratton engine that you may have an issue with figuring this out. So I'm going to see what's going on with this thing and see if I can get it fixed. So I'll show you what I've done so far, see what else we can do here. Alright guys, what I have done so far is I put a fuel filter on it, right? And what I'm looking at is where does the flow stop, right? So I've got these just in case I need them. I feel like I've got a blockage in the fuel line somewhere because what is happening, let's pull this out. Do we have fuel coming out of this again? Looks like we might. So yes. Now here's the problem though. You see that the fuel just stops, like it's just getting a trickle in there, and then it doesn't get anything else. And when I even turn the key on, if this right here was an issue, I think you even took the anti-backfire off, then that would be something. But it should be a steady stream coming out of there. But what it does is it eventually drips and drips and drips and fills up. So what I got to figure out is where does the flow stop, you know? Do I take the carb bowl off first? Do I look at the fuel line going up to the carburetor here? Not completely sure where the issue lies. So what I can do though, let's see, I got to figure out where that fuel line goes. I don't work on these Powermores very much, because usually if they got problems I just put Briggs & Strattons or something on them. So let's see, so I've got that fuel line right there. And of course the fuel line clip is all the way in an area that I can't access very well. So, let me see. See, and then it's like it wants me to have to take the whole thing off in order to get it off. So what I might do, let's see. I just pulled 10 millimeters out the side right there. Just pull this whole air hat off and carburetor all together. See where our flow is stopping. Alright, let's Like I said, just trying to figure out the easiest way to do this, and it almost looks like pulling this off is the best way to go. Will this whole thing come out? And probably not. Alright. Let's pull this air filter off then. Is this in okay shape? Seems to be. It's not a, like I said, it's not really a running issue, I don't think. Not an air intake issue or an issue like that. I think it's a, like I said, I think it's a spark issue. What have we got here? Is there like, oh, there's another one right there. It's like, what is going on? Alright, so that's gotten us off. Election season, spam calls, right? So what I'm gonna do is pinch the fuel line off. There's a little gasket in here that is on this machine. I'm just going to pull the hood over here as well, get it kind of out of the way. Okay. And what else here? I'm going to grab these. And what hopefully this will allow me to do is access that fuel line a little bit better in the back here. So you can see that the access to this line is like not very good. It's down there somewhere. So let me grab some pliers. And see if I can pull this line off. They do not make these Powermores easy to work on, do they? Now I've got to get this fuel line off. So what I'm going to see here is the fuel flow going through the fuel line right here to the carburetor? If it is, then I've got a stuck float. And it's not very powerful, but it is there. It's not a very powerful flow. So it's like, what do I put a fuel line on it? Let me just look one more time here. Should be enough. So I think our issue is actually in the carburetor. And to get that off, looks like I need to pull that evap line there. Got another evap line here. Oh my goodness. Evap lines everywhere, y'all. Okay. And then there's a screw to take this off. Ooh, looks like we might have a little bad gas in here too, look. So that might be it. Probably a little bit of varnish in the carb. We'll see. But in order to take the carb off, screw right there, and then your two 10 millimeters. I'm going to take care of that. And we're just going to pull the carb off and see what happens, I suppose. Shouldn't be too difficult. Hopefully it just needs a little cleaning. Alright, at the point of taking this off again, the screw on top allows you to separate these two pieces of the carb here. You can pull this out too. Get that out of the way. This is some crazy mess here. What's funny is that it will run fine for like 10 to 15 minutes and then just starve for gas. So it could just be just a trash in the carburetor, something happening to it. I'm just gonna take that off. Is that a 10 mil? It's probably a 12 or 13. I just take it off right here. It's 12. Just kind of surprised, not surprised, but I mean the mower's 4 years old. Appears to have been used pretty decent, so it's like, you know, what are we doing here, you know? That fuel solenoid's still on it, so that maybe have something to do with it. Let me see. Might just cut that off just for good measure. But what I'm going to do is take a wrench, break this carb open here, get it up on the bench in the garage, and just see how bad it is. Alright guys, pulled this 14 millimeters, so pretty big for the bowl bolt, I suppose, since it's not a nut. Time to pull it out. How are we looking? Of course we're looking clean. So that also makes me wonder what the heck is going on here. I'm thinking that the little switch, well, I don't know, is malfunctioning. I'm not sure. Do we have enough fuel flow coming through here? It's almost like it's something blocked in here. Almost like I need to throw some air through it or something. Because I'm blowing like mad and I can't get anything out of it. Hardly. Between this 90 degree here. It almost makes me wonder, can I get that off? Like, is that a screwable part there? I don't even know. Let's see. We got you on the... There we are. It is, actually. Great. That's good. Whoop. Gasket down. I'm hoping that there's just a bunch of junk inside this. Oh, there we are. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, y'all. Look at that. Y'all see that junk inside of there? That's kind of crazy, ain't it? So, I will get that out with some pliers or something along those lines. So that's definitely what it is. It's crazy that what it'll do is it'll run great. Because y'all, if you watch the channel, y'all saw me do a Z54 that had a similar issue. Ran great for like 10-15 minutes and then just quit. So this appears to also be our issue here, which is kind of crazy. I'll have to get me like a hook and pick set or something to get that out. So let me find some correct tools and see what we can do. Alright guys, a hook and pick tool got it out. It's almost like a secondary fuel screen there, which is just caked in mud and junk. There it is, coming right off. So that's kind of crazy. Get this fuel screen cleared back up, as you can see right there. Get it cleared back up with a little bit of cloth and just rubbing all the dirt off of it here. You know, it's got a fuel filter on it. Makes you wonder why they put a secondary screen in here. I don't know, actually. Part of me wants to just leave it out. I need to take a little carb spray to it, though. That's a first. Because there's a fuel filter on it, like I said, part of me really just wants to leave this out. But then it'll get into the carb, right? Man, I don't know. It doesn't even look like it belongs in there. Y'all know what? I might just put it back together without this being in here. Just like Briggs & Stratton doesn't do that. Kohler doesn't do that. Why does Powermore do it, you know? So I'm just going to make sure all of this is clean and clear. Looks to be. So now, let me just take this, just do a quick little cleaning around here too. That's crazy though. That'll do it. That'll definitely do it. Need to figure out what way it went. Is that the choke side? Yes, choke's always before the throttle, so we need to be on this side with that. I'm just going to smash it down in there. Alright, hopefully it doesn't leak. I don't see any seals or anything. Inside the carb looks fine, so that's some, like I said, that is some crazy stuff, isn't it? Some crazy stuff. Put the little rod back in. And let's see. Outside is going to be right there. Take this. Put it back in. Like I said, I don't see any carb issues internally. I'm going to go out and just go to town with this thing because I've already cut half the yard and it started acting up. And I wanted to use it some before it started acting up, so I had an idea of where to start, because sometimes it's a spark issue, sometimes it's a fuel issue. And you just got to figure out what in the world it is, you know? So I think that goes on this side, doesn't it? So now, ooh, there we are. So I'll throw this back on the mower. I'll show you how to put it back on the mower because a little bit convoluted, and hopefully we don't have any leaks. This thing should run much better. Alright, now that it's fairly definitive as to what it was, I'm going to put this back on, the anti-backfire solenoid. These things are just a little frustrating to put on because of the wires and plugs and stuff. But there we go. Okay, now we'll put this back on. Okay, 12 millimeter. Boom. I don't think it matters what side the, well, it does. The plugs are where they're supposed to be, so. Boom. Alright, so y'all saw I put the throttle and the choke linkages back on. Again, those are fairly easy and straightforward to figure out. What we'll do next, let's see, I'm just trying to remember if I've got everything together here. So this one is going to go next. I need to figure out what way it's going to go here real quick. Alright, so it looks like it's going to go this way. Yeah. So let's put it in there. Hopefully y'all are seeing this alright. Now, we'll slide on this. Actually, I'm going to put the fuel line on first before I have to get in there. Alright, and the pliers for that to put on. Okay, and then we've got another seal here. You know, with that carb screen, or with that little screen that's in this, it almost makes it, it's almost like a built-in gotcha. Let me know what y'all think, because most of us aren't going to realize that there's like a secondary carb screen in there, which I don't understand the purpose of it, because if you have a good fuel filter, it should filter out everything that you need. I forgot to put the gasket on, sorry. Like I said, it should filter out everything that you need. So, it's like, why do you need that screen in an area that you can't really access, you know? So, like I said, I forgot to put the gasket on, so I'm doing that very quickly here. Gonna go like this, it appears. Appears that is the correct way. We're gonna slide that back on now. Excellent. Now we'll thread these in. And I have to put the screw over top of where it needs to go. Now we can thread these in. A little bit of a convoluted process here, I tell you that. Good news is I don't feel any leaks so far from where I pulled that piece off. It's kind of it's not a, I don't know if I call it a poor design, but like literally that 90 degree is just wedged in there. It's not even screwed in there, so. Alright, so let me grab my 10 mil. We'll put all this together here. And this 10 mil. Alright, that screw can go back on. And then we have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 more bolts? What's the fourth bolt that I took off? One up top here. There's 3 on the carb and there's 1 up top. Alright, this screw, put the screw in here. Okay, and 1, 2, 3. Are they all the same length? They are, so they don't really matter where they go. There's a little gasket on the inside of this. That you want to make sure that doesn't fall out. I'm just going to start with threading these in, hopefully. It's like just a little O-ring type gasket on the inside of these. Just make sure that you get it. Make sure that that seats correctly. It'll be right in here, right around where it goes in the intake. So I'm just starting these a couple of threads as long as I can get my hands up in there. I have to get an extension for that one. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, I'll go get an extension for that one, but I also just want to show y'all proof of concept here. This should have some really good fuel flow now. I'll get this at standby so I don't lose all of my gas. We'll let it run for about 5 or 6 seconds, right? You see how it's a continuous flow now? Whereas it was dripping in after about 4 or 5 seconds because it couldn't refill the bowl fast enough. So that's good. Obviously I will go out and test this before I call it good, but I have pretty high confidence that this is good. Let me grab that last bolt down there with this extension. There we are, and put the oil filter, or the air filter back on it, release this back. We have a couple of, them emissions tubes to put back on as well. One of them's right here, and then there's another one on the inside. I gotta figure out where that is. I think I can access it. Where are you? You're right here. Should have done this before. I think I can get it up there and plugged in. Whoops. All right, and let's get this in here. Get that on. it would have been a little bit better to take care of this before, but I think I can bend it enough to get it on, so let's try it here. Aye, there we are. So that's that second emissions tube, breather tube, whatever you want to call it. That's the breather tube probably. Then this is the vent tube for the gas tank, since they can't have vapors that go out into the atmosphere anymore. They gotta go back into the carburetor. Then we're back on. This way. I think. Let's see. Lock it. Lock it. And yeah. So that's it. Crank her up. This thing does run a little rich for some reason. It's a Powermore, so what do you expect? So y'all heard it run. I'm sorry I didn't have the camera angle right on. I'm going to put the hood back on. Just go test mow with it. I'll let y'all know the results. But like I said, I think everything's good on it now. It's that crazy little screen that was inside it. I don't know what purpose that would serve, because the fuel filter does what it needs to do. If the fuel filter does what it needs to do, then there should be no issue once it gets to the carburetor, right? Unless you're contaminated on the fuel line on the inside there. But as long as you keep your fuel line in good check, it's going to be good. Because that little screen is going to block. It doesn't take much to block that thing, you know? So I took that out. I'm going to run it for a little while. I'm sure it's good now. And send this back on to its home, hopefully, pretty soon. All right, had to run about 15 minutes or so. Seems to be fine. Got the whole backyard with it. This thing's running a little rich, but it's a Powermore, so the fact that it runs at all in itself is amazing enough. I don't know if there's like a time delay module that they put on these newer ones or something, but it takes us a couple seconds for this thing to shut off. That appears to have solved our issue though, thankfully, so that's good. Ready to call the guy back, say, hey, your mower's ready, come get it. So put a fuel filter on it. It needed a fuel filter, and then fix that secret little screen inside the carburetor. So kind of crazy though. I left it off. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I don't think there's any harm in it, because if you got a good fuel filter, it should keep all the dirt out of the carburetor with the fuel filter. Most carburetors don't have that screen, so it's almost, like I said, almost like a gotcha there. But got it fixed, ready to send it on back to its owner. Alright guys, that's everything on this Troy Bilt Bronco 42X with the Powermore in it. Whenever, some of the hardest things to figure out the issues with are when it runs for 10-15 minutes and then it stops. Because it's running great, and then all of a sudden it just stops running. You're like, what in the world? So because it could be an ignition coil failing, it could be swelling up fuel lines. In this case, it could be, or it was a blocked fuel screen inside the carburetor, which I would have never guessed, just because I don't really work on a lot of Powermores, and you don't really find them very much in machines except for the really low level stuff. And I'll tell you, these things do not have much power. It's like, we can make power jokes with Powermore engines forever. You know, power no more. We'll leave it at that. But it's ready to go. I guess, you know, if you're having this issue with a Powermore engine, whether it's on a Troy Bilt, yard machines, whatever they put these things on, pop open that little 90-degree, put it in a vise, and just kind of slide it open and see, you know, see what the condition of it is like, especially if you're not getting any fuel flow into the carburetor. Figure out where that flow stops, and I found out that it stopped at the carburetor inlet. Pull that screen out and we're good to go. So hopefully this video helped y'all out. My first time doing it, so I know it's going to be your first time. Apologies for any mistakes or errors, stumblings that y'all may see. It's just part of the channel. We get something, we investigate, hopefully we fix it, and send it on its way, which we're going to do with this Troy Bilt. Thanks again for watching this repair video. Hopefully y'all found it helpful, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.